Oh, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying Shibuya Kaho's coverage of the Pirate Yakuza game booth over at Tokyo Game Show 2024. She's a pirate, you see? What a lovely pirate indeed. What a way to start off the video, though, with something the complete opposite of DEI, huh? Well, check out this. We've got news from Grums. This is PlayStation leans into major DEI effort as they ramp up DEI department hiring. How about that? Even provides screenshots here of what the job listing is and took the liberty of highlighting the spooky things within it for us. So let's check it out. This person has had their name and identity blotted out, probably just to protect them from being, attacked on the internet, which again, we don't want to do. I want to stress that. It's not what we're here to do. We're here to laugh at these bizarre choices, not go out and make people file police reports because they're being harangued on the internet. While that's silly to do to begin with, let's just not give them the fodder to, go ahead with it. So they say here, I am currently hiring a DEI specialist to join the PlayStation Studios DE&I team. This person in this role will drive and own key elements of our global strategy and provide crucial program support. Lots of opportunities to collaborate with studios globally and drive impactful change across the business group. More info here at jobs.boards.greenhouse.io. So you know this is real. This is job boards, all right? This is jobs dashboard, excuse me. So you have manager of DEI at the PlayStation Studios posting this 2 days ago. So here's what the listing has to say over here on jobsboard.com. This is for the United Kingdom. And it reads, PlayStation isn't just the best place to play, it's also the best place to work. Today, we are recognized as the global leader in entertainment, producing the PlayStation family of products and services, including PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PlayStation VR, PlayStation Plus. Acclaimed by PlayStation Software, titled from PlayStation Studios, and more. Just gotta fix this a little bit here. Got a bit of a processing error, pardon me. Well, that's whatever. The position also strives to create an inclusive environment that empowers employees and embraces diversity. We welcome and encourage everyone as a passion and curiosity for innovation, technology, and play to explore our open positions and join our growing global team. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like entirely spooky. But you wait, it's gonna get spooky, okay? Right now, this is nice fluffy stuff of like, hi, we're the Sony Corporation, in case you've never heard of whatever the hell a PlayStation is, right? So the PlayStation brand falls under Sony Interactive Entertainment and is wholly owned subsidiary of the Sony Corporation. So it's abundantly clear who we're dealing with here. This isn't a troll post. We have DE&I Specialist, PlayStation Studios, United Kingdom. We are seeking a DE&I specialist to join the PlayStation PSS and DEI team. The purpose of this role is to facilitate the effective execution and advancement of our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. We all know what that means. The role will be responsible for owning projects, providing crucial program support, maximizing data-driven insights, and fostering collaboration across various teams to ensure the success and alignment of our DEI programs with organizational goals. Now, Grums didn't highlight that part, but what that means is that this person is going to be a team leader that's going to punish you if you're not DEI enough, okay? If you're not feeling the inclusion enough, they're going to run you down. Excuse me, clear my throat. This is an individual contributor role reporting directly to the DE&I manager for PlayStation Studios. So now we move into the red text that Grums has provided for us here. And it says the principal duties and responsibilities here. And it says execute and own elements of the PSS DE&I strategy, specifically elements related to talent development. So just like Ubisoft going out there and creating their DEI boot camp where they're raising people up and sending them out into the abyss right now for gaming studios, sending them out into the abyss, so too is Sony now putting someone in charge of aggregating talent from the roots rather than going out and trying to hire people. This would be a person that's totally vested in bringing in like-minded people, Nobody that doesn't go along with the agenda, the message, will get hired under this person. That's specifically what that's meant to say. They're meant to design, drive, and lead diversity of programs, such as sponsorship. So again, just like Ubisoft, they're going to make sure that they help people get hired at the studio rather than just selecting them on their abilities. And they strive to retain an underrepresented talent, increase readiness for growth opportunities, and improve representation in overall headcount and senior positions. So just like Ubisoft was bragging about having so many percentages of people here and there, do you remember the crap that Mitt Romney got for having binders full of women? Do you remember that? That's what that is. That's what that is. Just put them there. Just doesn't matter if they're good at what they do. Just put them there. So that way we don't look like ists. Who wants to be an ists, right? They're going to lead partnerships with human resource teams because in a video game company, human resources, well, who knew? Who would have guessed, right? Such as talent enablement and embed DEI talent processes for PSS, right? So all the PlayStation Corporation, this person is in charge in the UK area. They're going to be with the talent enablement, meaning if you're in trouble, if somebody gives you gruff, if you're not feeling loved enough, or if you're not feeling recognized as an attack helicopter enough at the office today, this program supervisor, as well, or this DEI representative, whoever they're hiring here, and HR teams will then, they'll take a torch and pitchfork mob to whoever did that to you. So there you go. So now it's not so much that they're going to be hiring people that believe this way, but if they don't stay believing that way, they're going to be handled, okay? So here we go. They're going to partner with talent acquisition to develop and execute strategies to attract underrepresented talent across all levels of the PlayStation Corporation in the UK situation, okay? So just consider for a minute, all right? Again, like I said before, it doesn't matter if they're good at it. Let's just get them in there, all right? We saw what happened with Concord. Here's another mouthful of it, as if they didn't learn. Maybe they're going to port some of the people from Concord up into these positions. Because as we know, with the DEI lovers, the DEI enthusiasts, they fail up. So, now we'll skip down to this one. It says, pull demographic data on consistent basis to track DEI metrics relating to retention and development of underrepresented groups in order to track progress on DE&I objectives, progressives. Why not? Allowing us to use the interventions and establish, allowing us rather to make interventions and establish accountabilities. It's not enough women in leadership. Well, we got to make sure we got to have somebody to blame for that. So again, they're going to be tracking how many people. So you hired a white guy, got to hire two other people that are not that. You hired a white straight guy. That's 5 guys who aren't like that. 5 peoples, 5 thems that aren't that. And it's like, that's what that is. That's literally counting the heads of your chickens. That's literally going through and making sure, all right, we got one white guy over here. We got to make sure there's not a white guy over here. Not being like, hey, we have a game to produce. Let's just do that. No, we're getting very busy into the office politics now. The office demographics are what this person's jobs specifically are all about. Nothing to do with producing a video game. Nothing to do with getting a game into your hands. Nothing to do with acquiring talent to do that. Their job, like it sounds like they're in talent acquisition, but their job is actually to make sure that there's not too many white guys in there. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be that guy. Their job is to make sure that there's not too many people who look like me running around the photosensitive parts of the office, at least. All right? They're going to use data to identify trends and gaps and use insights to influence overall talent strategy. So again, as the DEI specialist, enthusiast, pusher comes to be more evolved, as this role becomes more, I guess, deepened into the process of other corporations, Sony is asking this person to stay in the loop of their other people with what Disney's DE&I expert leader is doing in their UK branch, so that way they can come back and tattle on that and then get to do that with their people. And so that's what that's meant to do, is that stay in contact with all the other browbeaters to keep up to date on what the latest browbeating technique is. It's genius. Genius, right? For the Tide Pod Challenge champions, it's genius, So they're going to partner with Global DE&I and Social Justice Team and wider early talent teams to develop efforts to embed early career programs across the PlayStation Corporation. So again, just like Ubisoft, we are not bothering with talent that has proven themselves. Do you remember you had to have 5 years of experience with an associate's degree? Right? You're 18 years old, you got to have 5 years of experience at this job before you can get hired, right? It's an entry-level position. You got to have 5 years of experience, right? That's how this is going to defeat that. This is what it's meant to do. It's meant to take people fresh out of academia, where when just like the Ubisoft boot camp recruitees, they're fresh from the ideology farm. They're fresh pickings from being told what to believe after so many years of grade school and now so many years of academia, hammering into them a belief system rather than helping them hone their skill. You know it's true just as much as I do. You can read the news just as easily as I do. You can watch the videos that are scattered all over social media. You know exactly what academia is churning out, and that's exactly why Sony's running to them, as opposed to people who get into the system and realize that the stuff that they learned doesn't have anything to do with any... How often do you use trigonometry? I just want to ask you that. How often do you use trigonometry? Like in the run of your day, are you just trigonometricking all over the place? Are you a trigonometricker? Are you a trigonometricker? Really? Do we need an intervention? Now, I know if you're a rocket scientist or whatever that actually uses that as a job, like a part of your job, yeah, I absolutely understand you're using it. But like your average dude that's just going back and forth with his 9 to 5, not using trigonometry, right? Not using trigonometry. And that's what I'm talking about, is that as they come out of this DEI, like, easy bake called college, as you come out of that with this browbeating mentality and you finally get into the workplace and find out, well, what do you know? All of this political crap has nothing to do with putting polygons in an Unreal Engine environment. How about that? All of this political stuff, all this Marxist theory, all of this post-Keynesian economic theory has absolutely nothing to do with crafting a neat dragon in Blender. How about that? I don't know about you, but it shocks me that there are people out here that still think they make games at these places, that they're still hiring people with the purposes of making games. If you still think that the object of Sony and Firewalk and Ubisoft and all these other ones are to make video games, you're sorely mistaken, okay? You are sorely mistaken. It is to tell you how to believe and has nothing to do with the product itself. The product is just a vehicle to stuff it down your throat. So again, we'll move down here to lead development for best practice templates, playbooks, and processes to enhance the PlayStation DE&I efforts. So again, we're not going to move away from coming up with our own strategies now. That's not going to be it. We're going to move into what the approved thought college is on this, what the approved thought, catalog, I guess, curriculum is on this stuff. So there's no more like you're inventing your own DEI for this department. That's what that's meant to specify. That's why I dragged that out, and why Grum's kind of missed it probably, is that their job, that's right there, is the best practice templates and playbooks. They're not talking about video games. They're not talking about where to put the trash cans in the office so nobody trips on them. They're talking about how many people can be in the office that look like me, how many people can be straight in that office despite what color they are, how many people can be male in that office despite what color they are, what they believe in, or who they love. Again, that's what that's all about. It's the accepted college of that idea, right? It's the accepted column there that they're allowing to happen. Not... Well, that was my attention span going out the window. I don't know about yours, but that's what I'm trying to say, is that these people are out here not making video games. They're going to accept what is the conventional thought on it and not innovate even on the DEI level. So, again, what I'm stressing, despite the motorcycle going by, what I'm stressing is that they're not going to even make the DEI at Sony unique. It is going to be part of the greater web of DEI that most likely Ubisoft is obeying. Now, if you're hearing all these vehicles going by my house, it'd be a great time to hit like and subscribe. I don't know if the little graphic's going to pop up at this time, but it'd be pretty cool if it did. If it didn't, oh well, maybe next time. Keep an eye out for that graphic. Maybe I'll mention it at the right time, and let me know down in the comments if it showed up at the right time or not. But we'll move on down here to the required knowledge and skill. So they're making sure right out of the gate, all right, there's nothing to do with video games. So a bachelor's degree, the equivalent experience in DE&I, HR, or related field. Nothing to do with video games. Nothing. Nothing. You've got the ability to collaborate and adapt with needs of various global partners, strategic thinking, strong operational executive execution, ability to work effectively, willingness to adapt quickly, right? So all of a sudden, somebody's going to introduce a new gender. You got to be able to handle that. You got to be able to deal with what you're going to do in the office when somebody thinks they're a helicopter. The ability to be both responsive to emerging issues and proactively seek out areas of improvement. Now, I dragged that one out of that list because this, again, is charging these people with being busybodies. You're not managing anything here. You're running around looking for problems. Yeah, again, I'm not trying to come down on police, but you see these guys walking around with the mirror things at the end of the selfie stick, and they're looking underneath your car. That's not to check and make sure you're rusted out, or you have any Mexicans hiding underneath there or something like that. They're going around and making sure that there isn't a device underneath there that could cause trouble. I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, but it goes boom, okay? And they're going around checking for that stuff. That's the purpose of that stuff. They're not looking underneath your pipes are rusted. We're going to leave you a ticket for that. A little sticky note that says get your tires rotated. No. That mirror is to make sure that there's no trouble. But again, to the person who doesn't walk around with things that go boom underneath their car, that seems a bit intrusive, doesn't it? You're just minding your own business, going on a trip to the post office, dropping off some Christmas cards to grandma, and all of a sudden there's a police officer taking a mirror underneath your car, making sure that you're not carrying anything, festive, underneath it. And so it's one of those things where they're going around looking for a problem. That's what that line is meant to mean, the ability to be both responsive to emerging issues and proactively seek out areas of improvement. So it means you're not going to be content with just accepting the conventional thought. Not going to be content with rolling with the punches, coming up with new genders on the fly. We're not going to deal with that either. They're going to have that all wrapped up. But the biggest thing they want to make sure that you understand, that's why it's at the bottom of this list, not the top. So your brain's totally dialed in on envisioning your job. The top of their list, if you read it in reverse, because this is how it's meant to work for your psychology, the last thing is the first thing you're thinking of, you see? So right here, they're telling you, your job is to be a hall monitor. But we'll get down here. The bonus to your application is that you have previous experience in the gaming industry. Whoa, you actually know how these things work? You know what an Xbox controller is versus a PlayStation controller? You're double hired. Whoa. Previous experience working with creative teams. Now, we already know that they proved that Ubisoft pulled people like Kazuma Hashimoto out of Sweet Baby Inc. to make excuses for them, okay? So once again, I just want to remind you that that's what they mean by that, is they're looking for people that come out of these think tanks already that are armed and dangerous with the DEI propaganda and already looking for heads to take, already looking for scalps to accumulate. But this brings me to the next chapter in the problem with Sony. We now find out that Sony has doubled the price of the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster after revealing the PS5 super cool one there at the Tokyo Game Show. So I have to again, the State of Play as well. So I have to bring your attention to, why is Sony obsessed with Horizon Zero Dawn? Why does that just keep getting over and over and over again? Why does it get a Lego thing? Why did it get a Genshin Impact collaboration? Why did it get a Fortnite collaboration? Out of all the things that Sony has in its umbrella to pull out of its butt to throw at a collaboration, why is it Aloy and why is it Horizon Zero Dawn? Now, I love this property. I really do. Aloy is one of my favorite female protagonists. I think they did a really good job in the initial concept of her, not the ham planet that they turned her into, okay? The original game presented a Spider-Man-like female character that was quippy and did more talking than thinking as she tried to work out a problem. And I appreciated that. I appreciated a sassy adventurer that really didn't know her place in the world and slowly found it as the mystery of her origins became evident to her. I also appreciated the father figure that she had that sacrificed the comfort of joining his own people in a lesser fashion, obviously, because of the way their matriarchy worked. But he separated his people and lived alone in order to raise this child. That was an amazing kind of story as like just a dude out there that wants to be a dad someday. That was a really cool like nod to dads. And he taught her everything that she uses in the game. It was a really good story. It felt really rewarding to see this happen after The Last of Us before the sequel happened. Not The Last of Us 2, but the first one with Joel and Ellie having that father-daughter thing and Joel saving her from the Fireflies. This felt like a proper kind of like we're keeping that father-daughter energy going, and then all of a sudden she's an angry lesbian that makes fun of everybody all the time. But that's why they're doing Zero Dawn Remaster as opposed to Forbidden West or yet another Horizon game. All right, they're going back to what they know sells. And you might be curious about why this is. Well, it's because Herman Hulst, the current tippity top at Sony America, is the father of Horizon Zero Dawn. His team put it together. I believe it was his company he co-founded, put it together, and they basically made him what he is. Horizon Zero Dawn also did a lot for the Sony brand as well as the PlayStation. And so it remains one of the things that continues to attract people to the brand is the Horizon Zero Dawn property. Now, again, I know why. It's because Aloy's a very fun character, and the world they created is a very interesting, and it's full of lots of tales you can tell with it. But that's not why I'm bringing this up. It's because Herman Hulst is the guy that runs Sony right now. And so the only thing he can think of that's going to make money is the only thing that brought him prevalence to begin with. This is, once again, more of the tail wagging the dog as opposed to the dog wagging the tail. This is not where his focus needs to be. Right now, after the failure of Concord, this should not be repelling back into Horizon Zero Dawn. This is not the position to take on that. Rather than this, you need to go with something very simple. You got Astrobot out there. Start offering more expansions of the Astrobot property into other games. Team Asahi? Team... You'll have to correct me on their name below. But the team behind Astrobot, they've got all the assets right now. They've got all the assets right now to do that Lego concept you're doing with Assassin's Creed, to just do that with their property. They built that practically into the game. That's what the game is about, mostly. So just do that. Just do that instead. Don't go out there and make this whole new Lego collaboration with Aloy. Make Astrobot into that Lego game. That's the problem with his thinking, is that he's thinking like, okay, we got to go back on what works. Just make Aloy shinier, all right? Let's just make her shinier and we'll call it a remaster. Because again, that's all we're dealing with, the ray tracing. It's a little shinier than it was before. Neat. This is, again, wrong thinking. Go back to simplicity. We heard again and again, Konami, I think it was Konami, or Capcom, one of the heavy K names, they did a study on their own player base and asked them, do graphics matter? No, they don't. Surprise, they don't matter. Most respondees replied with, they just want a fun game. It doesn't have to look like something that's real life. But yet Herman Hulst wants to do a remaster of the game that made him who he is. Now, we need to remember at the end of the day what really happened with this guy. So when he was propelled into his position, he went around and gutted the Sony Japanese branch. And it ended up collapsing because of his behavior. And he confirmed that he does not want to deal with Japanese studios. He wants to deal with Western-only studios. And we see this playing out with how they're hiring the DEI folks and what their mentality about mostly what things like Stellar Blade are. We saw the fight on that. And then Helldivers with the issue with linking your PSN account with your PC. Why? Well, it's because they want to be able to ban you across all platforms. They want you to be able to escape their ability to cut you off from the game that you bought with your own money. They don't know how to deal with you not behaving the way that they want you to behave with their game. Again, it's like the sign that says wet paint. There are going to be people that touch the wet paint just because you told them it's wet paint. It's how it works. It's one of those catch-22s. You let people know that there's wet paint so they don't touch it, and there's going to be people that want to touch it because it's there that says it's wet. It's that simple. But Herman Hulst won't give that up. He doesn't want to deal with that. So he wants to make sure that you have to link your account. So if you say something naughty over here, you can't say it over here ever again in this other place. You just got it over there, and that's it, and you're done. You're banned forever here, which means you're banned everywhere else. They want to be able to track your usage of these games as well, so they can decide whether or not to start advertising to you specifically about sequels to these games, about add-ons, about games that are like this, in this sort of genre that you're playing 100 hours or so a month in, you know? I realize that's not a lot, but you know what I mean. So again, Herman Hulst, the guy at the tippity top, is the guy to blame for all of this. is the guy to blame for all of this. All right. So if you're looking for somebody to like understand where this is coming from, why Sony is continuing down this path, why there's more DEI raining down from the sky at Sony, this is why right here. So without further ado, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, good luck out there.